Will up there also.
Welcome to Grace Lake Central High School for our political forum. Tonight's general election forum will host the candidates for the 8th Congressional Representative, 62nd State Representative, and 31st State Senate.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that will be the last time that I am disrespected. There is certainly no disrespect. Excuse me.
I'm running for Congress because Washington has stopped listening and they're spending money at a pace that's going to bankrupt our kids and our grandkids. Both political parties have done this. The party in charge of Congress and the party in the White House has taken it, folks, to an unforgivable level.
As a fiscal conservative and social moderate, I brought to Congress my 20 years of business experience and the common sense concerns of a mom. My priority, then and now, is to promote economic opportunity and restore the promise of the American dream to middle-class families and businesses. Small businesses, the backbone of our economy, are fearful about falling behind countries like China.
Tax relief. How can you ensure that your tax cut will not affect schools and the funding they receive?
Well, I'm very proud of cutting taxes, but also doing it in a responsible way. Unlike one of my opponents who has supported eliminating the Department of Education, which could affect school funding, certainly, and student loan programs that many families count on, I think that's an irresponsible approach to fiscal responsibility. Education is one of the most important investments we can make, recognizing that in a global economy we have to graduate the skill sets that can compete. And that means also investing in science, technology, engineering, and math. And I've continued to support appropriations in that area and will continue to always prioritize education funding.
I will say unequivocally, I always support tax relief. The more we cut taxes, the more we're going to grow the economy, which will lead to greater revenues for our government. Education is a state and local issue. There's probably not anybody up on this stage that doesn't see and value the importance of good public schools in this country. But like so many issues we argue and debate about, we're arguing about how to get there. We've had a Department of Education for 30 to 40 years, and you can't show me one statistical analysis that anything at the federal level of the Department of Education has done any good for our schools. Our schools are state and local issues. To improve our public schools, we need to cajole and encourage competition into the system. I've spent a good number of years working with and educating kids in our inner cities, and folks, I can tell you, in our inner cities right now, the state of our public education is almost criminal. Those kids, those parents need options. They need private school options. We need to see school choice, where we can empower parents, whether they want to homeschool, private school, religious school, any sort of school. That's up to them, and that kind of competition will help public schools improve.
Do you believe that health care is a right or a privilege? And should we have a public obligation for health care in the way we do for education?
In this country, you've got a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This society there's an obligation to make sure our people are cared for. But there's a real divide on this issue. How do we get to the place where we can provide reasonable and cost-effective health care for everyone in this country? And there are two divides. When my opponent voted for Obamacare at the end of March, our campaign for a full 2 weeks got a couple of 100 emails and calls a day from folks who all said the same thing. I've never been involved in politics until now, but now I've had it. Miss Bean voted against her district and voted for a piece of legislation that she knew this district didn't want. And this district has made that opinion very clear prior to the vote and for the last 8 months. What we've done, folks, is we've taken a first giant step toward government-run health care. And if we want to go at cost and we want to go at access, that's the last thing we need to do. Our campaign's been holding healthcare town halls around the district this entire campaign. And it's doctors and it's experts who say private physicians, as we know them, they're gone in 5 or 6 years. Private insurance is gone. We just passed a piece of legislation that will destroy the best healthcare system in the world with real problems in cost and access.
Healthcare reforms that I supported and my opponent Joe Walsh would repeal were that I supported because I heard from so many families across this district since I came to Congress. When I first came to Congress, it was the #1 issue that I heard about. From small businesses who paid twice as much as large employers for the same benefits, who've seen double-digit increases in their premiums year over year, and who find themselves one claim away from being priced out of the market and losing coverage for themselves and their employees. For seniors who are trying to re-enter the workforce, but because they are over 50 and have a pre-existing condition, businesses will illegally, but often discriminate because they're afraid to bring those pre-existing conditions into the plan and again get their small business plan dropped. For those who not only don't have access to affordable care, who I've heard from so many, but from the 87% of Americans who have had health care coverage, but until this law passed did not have health care security. Because Illinois has the highest level of rescission in this country. That means companies have been able to legally drop your coverage when you need it most. A woman who needs a double mastectomy told that because she had acne when she was 14, it's dropped a week before her surgery. A man who needs heart surgery but had an ankle problem 20 years earlier. The insurance companies have been taking your premium payments but don't want to cover you when you need the help. That's the kind of thing I've heard from people ought to be illegal, and now it is, along with limits on lifetime caps and pre-existing conditions.